back once again. The inexplicable bacon video to kick off the Tuesday show. We love to see it. Dumbo, welcome to NFT Tuesday. How you doing, man?
I'm good, Mike. I'm good. I've seen that clip so many times, and every time I'm just like, "What is this?
Yeah.
Like, why does no one question it more?" I don't know how it's just there, and everyone just accepts it.
I like at least you have some understanding. We've done some other shows like the last couple of Tuesdays where we've brought on teams that are like outside of the NBA Top Shot stratosphere. Like they know of it, but that's not why their project started. And they're like, how the hell is this an introduction to our show? Like, what is this? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to, but at least you're like, okay, I kind of know this.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because like Team Hold does feel like they're getting those outsider people more and more, and I think it's really cool what you guys are doing over there and how you're building that. And like the downside is you're going to look a bit weird when you make all your in jokes that no one gets, but
Yeah.
it is what
Yeah.
it is.
We're slowly trying to bring more people into inside jokes. I think that's what we're trying to expand the inside joke universe. But yes, we're gonna talk Pieland a little bit today. We're keeping your Top Shot crap. Save it for the Discord. We're not doing that today. But we're gonna talk Pieland a little bit. But what I actually wanted to talk about first before we get to it. I've seen you doing some community development, community managed work, and obviously in the Top Shot streets. I've seen it in Flowverse and now in Pieland. I just like, is this something you did prior to getting into this space? Is this something you've been passionate about for a while?
You know what's funny? Like never like to this degree.
Yeah,
Definitely not. Like you said, like there's Flavors, Top Shot, Flavour, a Big
yeah,
Town Chef, like a bunch of these. Like sorry, I almost saw my hair.
yeah.
Um, a big bunch of these projects, but like before NFTs, I'd only sort of ran a couple of Discord groups and communities amongst like friends with shared interests. Like there was a betting group, there's like a UK group for some stuff, and so like I did lead those communities, but I never really actively built them in this way. But I guess that
Mhm.
experience is probably what helped a little bit. Like, honestly, even just when you're like familiar with Discord, like I'm not trying to throw shade on anyone, but there's people out here that are building Discord communities where like they're learning Discord as they try and build the community, and like it shows. Like
Yeah,
they have like notifications for messages just on. And you go in Discord, you're just getting pings. You're like, what is this and stuff like that. And like I think even just having experience in Discord and being a sociable, extroverted person can really translate into being able to build a community in this space.
yeah. I mean, as someone who was creating a Discord, and that was like my first Discord, I think maybe my second Discord I was in. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and I remember you said it a couple of times too, and you were very polite about it, but you were like, "Yeah, you gotta like organize the people that are in here. This is
You
chaos."
used to have just like a channel list and just like a members list. Like, I remember when I
Yeah,
first joined Team Hold, I was like, I've no idea who runs this. I have no
yeah.
idea what's going on.
No, me neither. I still vaguely know. It
No,
took
it's
me.
so good now. It's so good now because you got structure, and like structure
Yeah,
takes like an hour or two to set up, and then you just have it forever. And the Discord
yeah.
is so much better, and the community is so much better. So it's definitely good now.
Well, and I think like an underrated thing about like structure in there, it makes it easier for people to find what the thing is that's going to matter to them the most. Do you know what I mean? And that is like, I think like intrinsically, that's what's important about the community development is you're just like finding ways. Like obviously, there's a big picture of what we're doing, but it's fine. You're like creating homes for people, and it's like, okay, this is my home in here. Um,
Exactly. And it's like because every community will have sorry to drop that. Every community will have like sub communities within it. So even if there's only
mhm,
like 100 people, 10 of them are going to want to chat loads about one topic, and 10 about another, and 10 about another. And that's when
right.
like you can breed that and let that happen if you have the proper structure. It's like Team Hold has that. Like they have the different channels where people specifically talk about certain topics, and I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah, and like as I'm, exploring into new NFT projects myself, because you're right, like there are a lot of people who are doing what Teamhole did back in like March or April or whatever, where it is kind of a nightmare to organize. But when you walk into a new project and you can kind of like see, okay, here's where I go for this, here's where I go for this, it's so much easier to navigate than sometimes like especially as a project starting to get hyped too. Now you get
Mhm.
like hundreds of thousands of people coming into a Discord, and you're like, oh my god, I don't even know how to like. I can't see through all the muck, you know.
And that's before you even start talking about like all the spam and the bad actors out
Hmm.
there. And like I've been tweeting about this a little bit, being on my soapbox, but like I don't think communities are doing enough. Like
Yeah.
community managers, and I'm not taking shades of people like Team Hold or like Own the Moment. I'm not talking
No.
about those. I'm talking about like the project communities where they are like, hey, we've got this NFT or we've got this, we've got that, and like you look at them in the setup, the infrastructure, it's embarrassing almost what they're not doing to protect their user base. Like if you look at the discords I'm involved in, for example, Top Shot, we've completely changed the structure, and
Hmm.
now the spam's reduced. If you're like a verified by Collabland member of our community, you'll get like a fraction of the spam you would have before, and that's in a 200,000 person Discord. So like
Wow.
when I see some of these 10,000 person Discords, I join and like I'm just getting spam, spam, spam. I'm like, this is just like the devs need to do something. That's what it
Right.
comes down to. Like, I hate to say it. And like spam's always going to happen, especially in the starting stages. But once
Yeah.
you've like released an NFT, once you've been about for like a few months, there's no real reason you should have it, because you can just set your Discord up in a tiered manner that can just stop spam almost entirely, in my opinion.
Right. I know,
But yeah,
and it's too bad too, because it really feels like it takes something bad happening before people react to it, right? Like people, it's just not on the forefront. It's not on the forefront of like devs' minds when they're creating stuff, and then it takes something terrible happening, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we got to get serious about this, and it's like,
hmm
how many other times like we've seen it happen to everybody else, so like you're not immune to it. It's gonna happen. People are gonna target it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, the Top Shot got targeted, dealt with it very quickly within a minute, but still got targeted. We saw, I think it was the other day, Alien Friends got targeted, for
Yep.
example, and they just
Yeah.
sort of got like exploited and hacked. And like the problem is, if you take the mindset of like, oh, we're protected for that exploit, you're never really protected for future exploits, and there will
Right.
be more. There's so much, you know. To be quite frank, money in these Discord communities, and people are joining them, representing. They're saying they're connected to Labland because they've got a board ape, because they've got the doodle, whatever it is. They're saying I've got tens of thousands of dollars on my PFP, and it's
Yeah.
really easy for a scammer to identify them because we're wearing it quite loud and proud, which is cool. But like people need to be more protected, and I don't think it's on the individual. I do think it's on the community managers to be doing more.
Yeah.
Like I won't go to the weeds of it. If anyone is watching though, and they run a community, especially an NFT community, and they want help with what I'm talk about, please let me know. But what I recommend is doing like tiered access. So
Yeah.
like a lot of Discords have like you join, you hit a welcome emoji, and then you can see the rest of the Discord. You should make it so that whatever that tiered access is, if it's a welcome emoji, if it's like a capture bot, if it's Collabland, if it's all of them, once they've done one of them, they should no longer be able to see that channel. And that's then going to create like separate members lists. So like
Yeah.
if you go into like the Top Shot Discord, for example, which I set up, like you won't be able to see anyone who's not on the same level of verification as you are, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So like if Team Hold dropped an NFT and it was like buy this NFT for like $1,000 and you can get access to the rest of Discord, like First Mint did, you
Mhm.
could then say, and you can't even see who's in this Discord unless you're holding the NFT, which means I couldn't like if I was a bad actor, I couldn't come in and DM them because I can't even see them. And it's like a really simple solution
Right.
that if the NFT space would just embrace and implement, spams would be almost solved.
I like that though. If you're gonna spam me, you have to at least purchase my NFT. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you have to at least be in the community.
I mean, when you put it like that, I realize eventually scammers will probably just buy
No,
NFTs to do it. But it's still like it will stop the bots because you
no,
can't have like a
absolutely.
thousand accounts.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, you're never gonna stop it all, but as long as you're creating as many roadblocks as possible for that, I think that's the way to go. Before you were like, because I know you mentioned Discords for your friends, like well, whether it was sports betting or whatever. Did you like not even online? Do you think you were like building community, whether intentionally or unintentionally, like even pre-online stuff?
Really good question. I mean, it's a weird time to think about because it's not just pre-online stuff; it's like pre-COVID. Like I don't
I
think
know,
anyone
right?
has a real life community at the moment, other than like your one neighbor that you see.
I know.
But yeah, I think I've always had like little groups. I've been always been quite social, and I've been traveling abroad, living abroad for 8, 9 years now. So I'm constantly in new countries and new cities where if I don't make friends, I just don't have a social life. So I'm always
Mhm.
sort of thrusting myself into those situations, which means I do find it quite easy to build those communities in real life as well. It's a very good question, Mike. I hadn't really thought about that before.
Well, it's funny. Somebody had asked me that before when like the team hold stuff was going on, and they had asked it in a different way, like what was your background? And pre like comedy, I was working in education, but what I went to grad school for, like technically the degree is curriculum and instruction, but what I really went to school for was to teach freshmen how to be comfortable when they get to college. Like that's essentially what my degree was. It was like if we can take care of like Haslow's hierarchy of needs or Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and then like just like take away all the weird shit so that you can have your college experience. Like that was essentially my role. And it was funny when someone phrased it like that. It was like, yeah, that is kind of what we're doing. We're just like, you're creating a space where it's like, yeah, you can come in here and feel like you can be yourself, and you're going to find other people that are passionate about the same stuff, while just creating like a good vibe, which sounds so dumb when you say it like that, but that's really, I mean, that's you do it in person. You see people do it in groups all the time. Like there's always someone who's organizing shit. And now you're just seeing it in the online space in a way that I never would have tied the two. I never would have tied the two if somebody hadn't asked that question. But I was like, I do think it's relatable.
Yeah, and like I also have background in like poker. That's what I did for like 5, 6 years. Was just
Hmm.
poker full time. And I know you've had a couple of poker players on before,
Yeah.
like Johnny Vibes and stuff like that. And I think they can relate as well in the sense that like when you're playing poker, you have to be able to like make friends with people,
Hmm.
even if you've got like a competitive nature or competitive edge. And so it is quite an interesting social situation, which I think teaches you a lot about being comfortable. You know, and it's similar in the NFT world where you might be chatting to someone who's got a PFP worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but forgetting about that and just chatting to the person. And poker
Right.
teaches you that as well. Like it doesn't matter how many chips have got in front of them or what the bankroll is. You're just trying to make friends with people, and that's how you get invited to other games, and that's how you can find a place where you've got an edge to make money long term. You know, so I think all those skill sets definitely overlap quite a lot,
Yeah.
and I think it's really exciting to see what will come from that in the next few years because there's going to be more people like right now. Let's be frank, there's people that are like 15, 14, 16 years old that are going to be the future trendsetters in the next 5, 10 years because they're embracing the digital space so strongly, you know.
Right. Yeah. We are old. Like it's this. Like we have no
how,
shot at
how old are
being,
you, Mike? How old are you?
dude. 37.
Yeah, you're actually old. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's still a joke if I'm old. Yeah, I'm still late 20s, so I'm like, I can
Nah,
get
dude,
away
it's
with it.
not. This is how you know. This is how I know you're old. Is because you are in your late 20s, but still think you're young. See that it's over, dude. It's over. The second you hit 25, because young people look at you and they're like, dude, this dude's fucking old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
Anyways, but yeah, I was just fascinated about that because I do think you are very patient, I think, and have like successfully cultivated a lot of different communities. I think you are really good. I mean, you go into other people's communities and still find a way to like make other people feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's not even your role. And I mean, I guess technically it is like in team hold because you're top shot rep, but I think you're like very, very good at it. So when I saw you were doing some stuff with Pieland, I was really interested because I was like, you know, everybody says community, community, community. And I get it, it's important, but I was like, yeah, but this dude's actually like really good at it. You were like professional community man. So talk to us like a little bit of like what you can share, because I know we're hashtag early in the
uh,
Pieland streets, but like talk to us a little bit about that, like where it came about and what you're excited about.
yeah, I think in a way from like what I'm excited about, you hit the nail on the head. Like I've been involved in range communities, even like outside of my day job. Like shout out the Goobs project, for example. Like it was built on Flow, and I just knew the guys that were running it, and I was like, this is awesome. And I just went and like sent a few hundred people over, and I just joined the community for a little bit, and it's like that was it, and I just left and bounced. And
Mhm.
like not because I'm expected to, but I just love seeing these communities as they're growing and building, and just being able to join in for the fun. Like I really, as sad as it is, I do think it's awesome to just be able to meet a bunch of people online and just chat about like this shared interest that is kind
Yeah.
of almost vague, and it's like it could be so much and it could be so little at the same time. So I really enjoy that. So when it came to Pieland, that was a project. Oh, we're going back like months now. So me, a guy called Daniel, who you might know as Calican, and
Mhm.
Bonfire, the guy behind Live Token, we've been chatting about this for like over, I don't know, 4, 5, maybe 6 months at this point. So it's been going on for a while, and we just basically wanted to share our skill sets. Like you said, like I've got a lot of
Yeah.
experience with community. I seem to be naturally quite good at it, and I enjoy it. Bonfire is this ridiculously smart developer. I mean, he's got decades of experience, but also he's just constantly doing new stuff that's really exciting. Like, I was chatting to him just the other day, and he's highlighting that even within his peer group, he's still like they're like, wow, you're like so involved in NFTs. I can't even imagine that. Like even the really experienced devs and technicians that he comes from, and engineers, are impressed by what he's doing. You know, so like that sounds better
Wow.
than me saying it because I don't really know what he's chatting about. I let him talk. I'm like, cool. And then we've got,
Sounds good.
yeah, I know it sounds good, mate. And then we've got Kellican, who's got like a load of experience with project management and stuff like that. So it just felt like this perfect combination to start with the three of us. And then we added a few other people, including our head of our artist, this guy called Ryan, who I can't actually say who he works for. I don't think I'm allowed to, but he's worked for like big companies doing design stuff, which is
Okay.
awesome. But he's like, so the three of us, the first three of us, me, Bonfire, and Dan, we come from the NFT space. So we intentionally brought in a couple of people that don't have as much background in the NFT to give that like fresh eyes. And
Yeah.
that's where Ryan came in perfectly. Like if you look at the octopies we've done, they look like NFT, but there's something a little bit unique about them. And that uniqueness comes from him being like a fresh pair of eyes and him being like, okay, I'm just going to draw something and we'll turn it into an NFT, you know? And that's kind of where it started from. We wanted to do something that was like a little unique, a little quirky, a little silly, but still serious. And
See,
to us, it had to be a pun. And that's where
yeah.
Octopi came in.
Yeah, of course, the A plus on the pun work. But that to me, that's the stuff that excites me though. Like the forward thinking of being like, okay, we have now been in this space where a lot of people are just kind of doing like wash, rinse, repeat. I don't know. Is that in the right order? Yeah, wash. I don't know. You know the phrase, right? Where we're gonna do this thing, and now we're gonna do this thing, except it'll look a little bit differently. And but the idea of like bringing in people who obviously have like an expertise that will come in handy in a different way that maybe we haven't seen in the space yet. And to me, that's what gets me excited, because that's growth. That's how like this
Mm.
space evolves, right? Not only does it bring in new people who aren't there already, but it's just how things grow and evolve. And that's really exciting. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like another example is we've got Pilar, who's like our head of admin, and she actually comes from like a background in the AI space, and that
Yeah.
is to me so exciting because it's like I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but I just think AI and NFTs are going to have way more crossover in the next few
Mhm.
years than they currently have had. They're both quite emerging, quite exciting technologies, and I think it's inevitable we're going to see them cross over. So it's really exciting for us to have someone who comes from that background who's had some crypto experience, but can still bring in like a whole new sort of mindset and vision that still is in the tech space, you know. And I think again, it's like you say, to me personally, when I sit down over projects, I get excited because it's like anyone can talk about NFT stuff at this point. Like I
Right.
think so many people have the same sort of information and knowledge to a certain degree that you need something special, you need something a bit more unique, and I think that combination really works well.
Yeah, that's how we evolve. I love that. So you've been like, I feel like you've helped shepherd some projects. You've seen projects from the outside. Have you found, let's see, what's the best way that we can phrase this without it feeling like you're like knifing people?
Yeah,
Have
you're gonna
you,
get in trouble. I
has,
know this.
yeah, no, but have you started to like see trends of like, do you feel like you've been around enough now and involved enough that you can like spot something pretty early on to be like, oh, this has some legs versus like, oh, this will not get going.
I think it, definitely for like what looks like it's going to have legs, because that's a
Mhm,
little bit easier, right? Because like it's hard to predict stuff that's like an iffy maybe. Because to be honest, like trends are such a factor. Like I think a lot
right.
of people said like there's probably going to be a bull run in January, but no one predicted it would be like to this degree,
Mhm,
and no one really predicted in what projects, right? But then you have projects like Doodles, which I think just looked amazing from early on because the art was kind of cool, the team were really solid, and they were like what I would say like no BS. They just kind of laid it out. They were having fun with it. They were
mhm,
silly but serious. And I think that's the perfect combination. That's what we're trying to emulate and do as well. Where it's like they're not going to take themselves too seriously to the point where they're not people, but they're going to take it
right.
seriously where they're going to build that project. And you know, projects like that you can kind of see a little bit early, but then other projects do really well that feel like they're out of nowhere, and you're just a bit like, does it deserve to be doing that well? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how long is
You
this going to last, and like
right.
you don't know right now because that's the other thing is when a project does well, when the floor price goes up and there is a lot of volume traded, they do generate revenue that they might use to hire the right people and build the
Mhm.
team out. So I actually think it's really hard to predict what isn't going to go well,
Yeah.
in that sense, you know. But like
No.
then we have, so I was just saying, then we have projects where it's like it feels like they're not doing well now, but it's inevitable they will. Like Penelope's, I'm gonna shout them
Yes.
out for sure. Like I don't know how they're not like one of the biggest ones at the moment, but I do think eventually they will be. You know, that sort of thing.
That does feel like, and I'm biased, but that does feel like a no-brain win. Like, it might not happen in January, it might not happen in February, but that, like, there's no way it loses. Like, it has to.
I mean,
I
but that's how it feels, right? But
Right, right.
the NFT space, there is that element of chance and luck, and like there is that element of like things have to align to a certain degree, and so you
Mm.
can't be sure. But if they keep building for months and years, the chances of them aligning things just go up and up and up. You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. So yeah, talk to us a little bit more about Pieland. So we know
Sure.
now, or what you can share. We know now you're aligned with like a lot of super talented people in that space, which is exciting. Um, but yeah, what else can you share? I
Yeah.
won't twist the screws too much, but
No, I mean, look, we've definitely got a lot more information coming out. What we've been doing is this cool, like, open kitchen series. That's what we've
Mhm.
called it. You know, there's going to be a lot of puns. If you're listening and you don't like puns, I can only apologize.
It's not for you.
It's just not. I'll just be honest. It's not going to be for you if you don't like puns. We have people being like, we'll put like an announcement out or a blog post out, and people are like, oh, I think that was a typo. No, no, that's a pun. That's just a really stretched out pie pun. You'll get it. Okay. It's a little bit over the top already, and we're still early. No, but so we put out like a couple of articles that do like a deeper dive into certain aspects. One of them was like we just had a like so I don't know about 6 7 weeks ago. I was in a call with the artist, the team, and he was going over what this like hours of work he'd done to adjust this one trait. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, I had to ask the team to step back for a second because we'd gotten used to that level of like work from him, where like
Yeah.
every trait was getting like put through this system and of like iteration and improvement and iteration and improvement and like scrap that, try this, try that, right? And I was like, we need to talk about this. So I put this article out and it was just with one trait, and it went on really well because people could see like that's a lot of work to put
Mhm.
into one thing that like isn't even going to be that common in the overall drop that we do in the near future. You know, it's
Mhm.
only a small part of it, but we're putting that much work into it. So that's like what we start doing is those articles. We've done another one that we released yesterday or the day before. I can't remember now. Time is hard to keep up with. About our smart contract, which we had Bonfire. He got to shine. He talked about it, and like it's really exciting to me because we're doing something that we think will be very common in the NFT space in the next 12 to 24 months, but isn't common just yet. And so it's like exciting to be able to share that part of the process. I won't go into it too much because one, I'm not the dev guy, and two, like it's very nerdy and niche. But basically,
Yeah.
smart contracts generally, when you do the drop and you mint the project, the smart contract can't be then changed. Now,
Right.
what we've done is we've made a contract that can be changed, but it's not meaning that it definitely will be changed. It just means if we ever wanted to change features in the contract, we could. And the reason that's really exciting is because if you look at, let's say, like any project when they mint, like I'm sorry, let me step back. So smart contracts are the contracts that have the code that determines, all the information about the NFT, the minting, the size, the number that you can mint, information like who owns it, when it's traded, when it's sold, all that
Mhm.
information, right? Like it's kind of like a library of data, very standard stuff. Now there's a limit to how big those contracts can be when you're building on the ETH blockchain, on any blockchain, but on ETH there's quite a sharp limit, and so it means the amount of code you can put in is limited. So when you're talking about things like, for example, Mutant Apes, when Mutant
Mhm.
Apes dropped, they had to do it as a separate contract they could layer on top of Bored Apes to get you
Gotcha.
to access it. They couldn't use the same contract because they hadn't coded it in initially, and they couldn't then go back and change it, right?
Gotcha.
What we can do is we can go back and change it. And one of the things we'll be able to do is once we've minted, we could go back and we could just take out all the code that relates to minting because it's dead code at that point. Like if you own a CryptoPunk, a Doodles, a Bored Ape, whatever it is, there's still code in that smart contract about the minting process, but they're never going to mint again. So it's just
Right.
like it's a waste of code, so to speak. So what we want to do is basically a more innovative way to do things like future airdrops, like future upgrades, future crafting that you're seeing in these other projects, like Doodles. They just did this awesome thing where you could wrap your NFT and get another NFT, but they have to do it by layering another contract on top. And what we've done will allow, maybe we'll still do that if we wanted to do that, but we'll allow it in a way more clean way because the
Yeah.
contract itself is just like cooler.
And
Which
how is
does that
that?
make sense?
No, it definitely makes sense. That makes sense on your end, and it just feels cleaner. Like it feels like a
Cleaner,
cleaner
yeah.
process for you guys. Is there a benefit? And again, I like my knowledge is like little, so bear with me. Is there a benefit on the collecting side of that too? Like, does that make it I don't know, easier is the right word, but like if like a drop does happen or something like that, does that benefit the collector in a way that you're like, I'm doing a bad job explaining that,
No,
but
no,
do
no.
you
Yeah, I
you know
get
what I'm
you.
saying?
Yeah, like it definitely could. Like it
Yeah.
definitely could. Obviously, because just because we made a contract upgradable doesn't mean we're saying we're going to upgrade it, we're going to change it. It just means
Mhm.
if we chose to, we could do things that could benefit collectors.
Sure.
Like a way to explain this is some projects have dropped and there's been something in the contract they had to change that was a problem.
Right.
And they had to ask people to migrate to a new contract. You might have seen this where they're like, go to this site, put your NFTs in, and you'll get them back, but with a new contract, that sort of thing. We
Yeah,
wouldn't have to do that. We could just change the contract itself. Now that's
that's
only in
great.
like an emergency situation, but it's an example of it. A better example is that like as time goes on and the Ethereum blockchain inevitably gets upgrades and changes, people are talking about 2.0. We saw the London upgrade last year. Like these things are going to keep happening to the Ethereum blockchain. They're going to change the very foundation of the crypto space itself, of the blockchain that we're building on. Our contract can change as well. Like
That's
our
great.
contract could then update to account for those changes in a way that others can't. So like it just means that we can always have a very innovative code in our smart contract. It doesn't mean necessarily that users will notice a difference on a day to day, but
Right.
there might be a point of change where they do notice. And also, to be quite real, a little bit alpha, we're probably going to make it so that if we ever want to change the contract, holders of the octopies, our NFT, will have to vote on it, right? So you
Love
can see a
that.
world where it's like, what other projects are letting you vote on the contract itself
Right.
post mid? Like, I think that's kind of exciting.
That is really cool. I'm right because especially like typically once the mint happens, like you're kind of not thinking about that anymore. So to have the opportunity to vote on that would be pretty. Look at that, a man of the people, like just letting them vote.
But it's like it's to me it's funny because some people have said, oh, the contract shouldn't be upgradable so they can stay more decentralized. I actually disagree with that because I think it's not decentralized. It's the developer made a contract and then it can never be changed,
Right.
right? What we're saying is we've made a contract, and if the community decides they want to change it, we'll change it. And
Yeah.
if we want to change it, the community will approve it. I mean, obviously, it's going to depend on the situation. We will lay that out more clearly closer to the time to our community. But like to me, that's more decentralized than the standard in the NFT
Well,
space.
right, and it's not like you're saying, "Oh, well, it is the first of the month, so everybody get your vote in because we're gonna change the contract." It's more of like it's providing a little bit of flexibility, so you're not cemented into something, which I think makes sense. It makes it easy, especially if you're saying that a vote will be, ensued, right? It's not providing flexibility just for you, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
providing flexibility for the community, and obviously in a positive way, which is cool. I like that. Yeah, I'd never heard of projects doing that. That seems pretty on the new.
Yeah, so this was something where I had a call from Bonfire again a couple of months ago at this point. He's super excited. He's like, I've done something amazing. And he started explaining it with like proxy layer 2. And he was going into it. And I was like, okay, you need to write this down in simple English for me to get
Yeah.
excited. And then once he did, I was like, wow, this is awesome. But it took me a little while as well. And like, we're very aware of that. We're very aware that there's going to be people that are checking out our project that don't have much experience in like NFT space outside of a couple of blue chips, outside of, maybe a Dapper Lab project, maybe it's just a Flow project, maybe a Solana, whatever it is. And we're going to make sure we provide like plenty of onboard and resources for those people to get like comfortable with it because
Yeah.
we want everyone to be excited about the same things that we're excited about.
No, I love that. And when you have people like you, who are able to dumb it down for, I won't say dumb it down, but you know what I'm saying. It's like Pieland for dummies. I think like that it goes a long way. It goes a long way
Uh,
for me, anyways, for my brain. I know you've been asked variations of this question, or maybe you've only been asked this one time, and I just happened to be on a Twitter Spaces when it happened. But just like you're busy, you're doing a lot of different work with a lot of different projects. Basically, it was like, how do you say sane? And you had a very good answer. You're like, I love doing this stuff. This is like, it's easy to continue. Okay. I appreciate that answer. I think it's real. I don't think it was bullshit. But what do you do like when you have to unplug from this space? So instead of being like, all right, I'm up to here on this project, I'm going to shift to this project because that will, loosen me up a little bit. What do you do outside of projects to like maintain sanity, to like reset, recharge, refresh? Is it move cities? Because I know you move a lot. Like what do
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like exercise, as cliche as it is, just like exercise is super important. And I do a lot of work with dogs, so like
Oh, nice.
it's easy to be motivated to work hard when you're like, oh man, if I'm not doing well, I can't fund this dog getting like rescued. And then it's
Yeah.
like it's just a no-brainer to work hard. So for me, it's like as maybe as dramatic as it sounds, I'm like, I don't want these dogs to get put down. I think I'm going to keep grinding, for another 4 hours today. Like that's kind of
Yeah.
where it comes down to. Not that it's like that every day. There's not
That
someone
is
like there's not someone off screen with a gun to a dog's head, like get working. But like it's what I spend a lot of time on outside of
yeah.
the project stuff, and it's also quite offline as well. And like honestly, just play with puppies once a month, and life is amazing. You can do
I
whatever you want in that regard.
I will say, I find a similar. Nervous to use the word release here, but because I work with kids, I don't work hard streaming to save kids' lives, but I do like. I find I can't really be online. I can't really be on my phone when I'm doing that. I can't really do anything. And it just kind of puts everything in perspective for a moment.
Mm.
And I really do. It's just like a really good reset where I'm like, okay, now I can like, I've cleansed, I've cleared everything. I can come back. Just having a kid yell at you, it really grounds you.
I find it's almost it's not quite meditation, but it's like a level of separation, like you
Yeah.
say, because you're not online. Like so, it's so separate for me. Like when you're working with dogs, kids, or whatever it is you're doing, like they're not asking you. No one's asking me about this NFT drop. No one's asking me about what happened with these bad comms. So it's just like
No
they don't
one's
care.
asking you if I'm ever going to receive my prize from the Top Shot Halliburton stream back in mid-October. No one's
Um,
asking you that, Brandon. Read the room.
Brandon, feel free to DM me. I'll sort it out after. But I'm not chatting Top Shot now, so I can't help you now. But so it's that sort of thing of where it's like by being having activities and hobbies that are separate, it makes the work you're doing easier to focus on for sure. And like
Yeah.
I think similar to you, like I honestly do love it. I could chat about
Mhm.
NFTs all day long. So like none of my friends sort of in Colombia, for example, my real life friends talk to me about NFTs. So it's like when I'm with them for an hour or two, I'm like, oh man, like why are you guys not talking about Doodles drop recently, or why are you not
I
talking about
know.
this or that? You know, I'm like, come on, we're in a bull run. Why are you guys not talking about it?
I know. I'm going to do some comedy in public tonight for the first time in a while. And I'm already gearing up for not talking about it, which is weird. But I'll also know that someone's gonna be like, oh yeah, how's that like fake basketball thing going for you? Like, are you still doing that shit? And like I'm already gearing up for that. I'm like, how are you not seeing this? How am I the one seeing this and you're not seeing this yet?
But
But
I think that'll change a lot in this year.
I do
I
too.
think it's month to month we're seeing more and more people get into NFTs, and I think we're aware that there's ups and downs. But the truth is, whenever there's an up period, more people get interested and involved, and then when
Yeah.
there's a down period, more people are likely to actually buy them. So I think the interest comes in times like this, and the
Yeah.
actual purchasing from those new people will probably come in the future whenever there's a more volatility that puts us back on a downwards sort of situation. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to fud the entire NFT space right there. I'm just saying
No,
like
no, no.
that's what will happen.
Yeah, yeah, but even like, yeah, when you see companies like DraftKings or something, right, where they're, I would say the main user base isn't messing around with NFTs, but when you see them come out and say like, hey, and I'm not talking about like the autograph project. I know they've basically hinted like, yeah, we'll do some other shit in the future, and knowing like seeing companies like that who have this like massive user base of people who probably aren't into NFTs, like it does feel like it's coming within the next year, at least more people being aware of them. I don't know what that means for people buying them, but I think the awareness will be more front and
Yeah.
center.
100%. And that's why, going back to Pieland, that's why we're so centric on like, we're going to build something that the experienced people will appreciate and get behind. But we're going to make
Mhm.
sure it's like palatable and understandable for people that are new to the space. Because I do feel like every day, it's just hundreds of people are Googling NFTs for the first time. And so, like, making sure that they have like an on ramp where they can not only learn about
Mhm.
it, but get involved and be part of it is definitely important. And it comes back to what we talked about before as well. Like, again, I see people now that are doing communities for NFTs where they're like, oh, everyone knows how Discord communities work, so I won't explain it. Everyone knows what this is or what that is, and they don't take a step back to remember what it's like for the person stepping into Discord for the first time as well,
Mhm.
or
It's
Twitter or whatever it is.
all of it. No, all of it. I do. I think like I do think we take for granted how overwhelming it was the first time, and
Mm.
whether it was a Discord or Twitter NFT or whatever, or NFT Twitter, not Twitter NFT. Um, and like having those.
Twitter did run NFTs, to be
That's
fair.
true, that's true. But having those, like, explainers or just kinda, like, step by step of, like, "Here you go." And I think that goes back to what we talked about before that too, is just, like, the community development aspect. Like, all of those little pieces go
Mm.
towards creating a space where people are, like, comfortable, and that's
Yeah,
where
for
that's where the
sure.
magic happens.
And
Um,
also, like,
yeah.
sorry, just to go on about it,
No.
like,
Yeah.
pat ourselves on the back, but I also feel like that artwork's a big thing, and like, we
Mhm.
really like with the octopies that I should have given you one to show. That was my bad, but like,
I was
with,
just gonna say, okay, is there something in the Discord I can share?
yeah, there is if you go to the sneak peek
Yeah, yeah.
channel on Discord. But I should have
Yeah.
sent you like a special one to show off. But like for me, it's like the NFT itself is like eye catching if you've never seen NFTs before. It's still cool. It's not like some NFTs are kind of niche and they're very self referential and like derivative projects, for example. Like if you want to be interested in derivative, you kind of have to know what it's a derivative of, you know? Yeah, so
Yeah.
this right here is like the base buy. That's the less exciting one. If you scroll down a little bit, if you click
Alright,
at
scroll
that and
down.
then scroll right down to the bottom, right down to the
Oh, all the
bottom.
way to the bottom? There we
Yeah,
go.
you can see the one we
What?
did. This is like, so this is a
Dude, now we're
pirate.
talking.
So this is a pirate. So again, the puns are going to be there constantly. But like you can see, like anyone could see this as kind of a cool thing that they might want to own, right? Even before you start talking about all the benefits and perks that come with it.
Is this an
For the
aging
community.
Dumbo pirate right here?
Does it look like me? Oh, I didn't realize that.
A little
Oh
little
man,
red?
yeah, I just need to grow my beard out. Yeah, it's looking a little bit red right now, isn't it, in the light? But yeah, so like all of our pies are gonna belong to a different what you could call a faction, what we're calling a slice. So this would be a pirate one, for example. We've got a lot more to reveal,
Uh,
like in terms of the different pirates, a few more slices, etc. But yeah, it's
the
exciting stuff.
the the jokes are really gonna hit for me soon. Like, it took me a second for this to be, like, pirate. It really did took me a second, and now I'm there. Kevin right here saying very appetizing.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's. So I just got to plug my laptop in. If you look at the other one above it, I think it might be. I think the other one's above it. No, no, not that one. That's really cool, but that's not
That is.
an exciting pun. If you go up, there's like a vampire one, so that would be our vampire. Like that one's quite easy, and like
This
this
is
is my
good.
favorite thing. You look around the mouth where it's rather than sucking blood, it's sucking the pie filling. Like stuff like this. We had a lot of fun. There's a lot of
This
puns that are
is
going to be
great.
scattered throughout.
Uh,
Yeah.
are you cool? Can I share a little invite in the live chat if anyone wants to jump in the Discord?
Yeah, you can do. And if they join our Discord right now, and I'll leave this open, I don't know, for a little bit longer. But if
Mhm.
they go to the general chat and they type period team hold, no spaces, it'll give them a special role, and we'll raffle away some prizes to everyone that has that role later.
Ooh, there we go. Look at that.
If
Dumbo
you
not only coming on and dropping alpha, but also giving stuff
if you
away. How about that?
yeah, if you go to general, you can type it yourself and test it. I should have done that for screen share. It doesn't
All
matter,
right. Yeah,
but
yeah, I'll do it.
just test it as well, and I'll just double check on
I'm just
my
gonna
end.
tell you though, if I win, I'm keeping it. So
Yeah, I hope
period
so.
hold.
Period team hold, team hold.
Oh, Fenny, you did it wrong. I can see
How do
you.
you not know the name of your own
Well,
group?
because you know what? I saw Fenny. Everyone's doing period hold. That's why I. A bunch of rookies. No one's
Uh,
listening. No one's listening. Even you did period hold.
I got part of it, but Fenny right now MVP. But yeah, so I'll give you a team hold role, and probably at some point later on today, I'll do a little giveaway for everyone that has that role.
Oh, that's awesome.
Depending how many people get it, will determine what you can give away. But yeah,
Dude, that's awesome. Well, and listen, I want to be conscious of your time. Thank you for coming on a lunch break. Is that right? Was this on a break you
yeah,
dedicated?
yeah. We got
What a guy. What a
busy day
guy.
at day job, but I'm always allowed to, take 30, 60 minutes off. And yeah, I think it's awesome. Shout out to the Team Whole community. I really appreciate what the Team Whole community are doing. And I think it's a very exciting time because, like, the next 12 months, the NFT space is going to get so much of a spotlight on it. And people like yourself, people like the Team Whole group, I think the moment as well, like, all these other creators are going to be in a situation to have, I don't want to be like influencers, but to like shape the very space that we're in.
Rich. You saying rich?
Actually, no, I don't think you will be because I don't see you monetizing yourself ever. Like,
I
I don't think
I'm
you don't do like paid advertisers or promos. You do nothing, mate.
I'm
Like,
so like listen, with on the moment, we've got a little bit, but that's
yeah,
really it. We
but
gotta
like,
be
when did the only moment start? Like a month or two ago? How long
yeah,
ago?
like 2 months ago.
Right, and you've been doing this for like nearly a year, mate. Like,
I
come
did.
on.
I've been trying. Oh man,
Uh,
yeah, we've been trying. We've been trying. It's yeah, I do think it will blow up too in the next year or so, and that is why. I mean, honestly, that's why we're trying to branch out a little bit and doing some of these like shorts and doing some of the smaller videos and doing NFT Tuesday and just mixing it up a little bit to just provide. I mean, similar to what we talked about. Like, I want people to come here and be this is like a low stakes hang where we're all like learning and trying to win at the same time while not it doesn't need to be a cutthroat experience, and that's what's been dope. And honestly, man, thank you. Like, thanks for coming on for your time for today, but also just like you have helped onboard so many people in this space while only truly being a dickhead to me. I feel like you've been very polite and kind to
I
everybody
mean,
else.
it's like you, Alexo, Veerman, a couple of
Yeah.
people in the Wolf Pack. I tend to just go for the people that are already here and they're doing well. I let them feel the heat because I got to balance it out. I got to balance it out. I can be as patient as I need for anyone who's new, but I
Yeah.
got no patience for you, Mike. Like if you mess up, no, no, no.
You know what's so funny? Steve, our man Steve Ballers Blockchain, soon to be Dapper employee, like reached out one time. I forget what it was after some event, some show that we did, and he's like, "Hey man, you like do bring good stuff to the community, right?" And I was like, "Dude, I know, I know, like, I promise, I know. I'm hoping at least I'm like I know
Because
this is the joke."
I
He's too
definitely
kind.
lay into you, and I think I probably laid into you a couple of dozen times, and maybe message you once after to be like, "We good?" Like
Yeah.
at most.
Yeah. That's it. The only one time. You only need to do it once.
Yeah, and then we're
Uh,
good forever. But
and
no,
we're
I
good
appreciate
forever.
you, Mike, for sure. I shout out to the Team Whole community. You guys know I'm a big fan. I've been in there for a minute, so I appreciate it. And hopefully, check out Pieland. Let me know. Feedback is welcome always.
Yeah.
If anyone's got any comments, questions, concerns, let me know, and maybe we can do this again post drop. I won't say when the drop is, but it is
Yeah.
going to be soon. It's going to be soon. It's going to be sometime in the next 2 months, within
There
the
we
next
go.
2 months. And we can always do a little giveaway, both post drop, maybe pre drop. Make something exciting for it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody, we shared the link for the Discord in the chat. You can go follow him on Twitter as well. If you're not watching this live, you can see it in the show notes. We'll put all the info in there, and And yeah, get in there. And honestly, it's just like a fun Discord too. I enjoy lurking over there. So,
There's a
um,
lot of pie puns. Like, brace yourself for pie puns.
yeah, we're there. Let's share one more before we get out of here. Kevin says, "I'm sure the puns are keeping him occupied." There you go.
Amazing, Kevin. There we go. There we
And
go. I
that's
mean, they are, and I love it. It's every day. I'm having normal conversations and referencing pies. I'm like, I'm sorry, just ignore me.
yeah, it's a habit now. All right, Dumbo. Thanks again, man. And for everybody else, we'll be back tomorrow. What is it? Yeah, what's today? Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow for the morning marketplace at 9. Go get some pies, baby. Go get some pies. All right,
All
we're
right.
out of here.
Catch you later.